Hi guys, welcome to today's AMA. As some of you will have just seen, unfortunately, Herman can't join today. I think himself and Boer are working on something important at the moment, and he wasn't planning to be unavailable, but unfortunately, he can't be here. As usual, when he can't join, he will share updates in written form as soon as possible in the chat. What I'm going to do is I'll probably wait for him to make those updates, assuming that he can do it in short order. Then I will combine them with the transcript or not transcript summary of today's AMA, and we'll publish that later on. In the meantime, however, I do have lots of things to talk about. We are trying to stick to the more shortened version of the AMA format because, it just takes too long to get to the meat of the discussion for you guys if we don't keep it nice and short. So, I'm just going to proceed, and then if you check the chat later on, I'll pin the messages that Herman puts in about what's going on. So, as I said, we have a lot to talk about anyway. A lot of interesting things are happening. We're quite busy. A lot of pretty exciting things actually as well. So, as a couple of people asked, so we were waiting for a technical issue to be resolved, which had an impact on some things that we wanted to talk about, which is why we couldn't add these to the newsletter and investor letter before now. So they've actually been done in the last 24 hours. So I'm going to try and put out both tomorrow. I'll probably what I'll do is I'll include the investor letter details in, or sorry, I'll publish the newsletter first. Investor letter will go out to the big to the our partners tomorrow, and then I'll publish a truncated version of the investor letter to you guys in the Telegram chat on Friday. So that will kind of recap a lot of the things that are going on, some strategic things. It gives us a more long form and permanent venue or vehicle for discussing what's going on in the project than just these AMAs. Apologies for the delay, but it's kind of out of our hands. But we can put them out tomorrow, and we're going to stick to doing them at least monthly from now on. As well, we have some interesting things to announce over the next few days. We will be starting. So, as I mentioned last week, we've been working on a lot of partnerships. Some of them are very technical partnerships. Some of them are more business oriented. Some of them are with bigger and somewhat more newer projects. All of them are quite interesting. As we've said before, we never chase partnerships for the sake of it or just because of the scale of a project. We always do these things with a strategic balance in mind. So what I'm hoping to execute over the next few weeks is that every few days we'll discuss the development of our partnerships, or we will announce some aspect of it, or we will announce new partnerships. As I mentioned in previous AMAs, the big step forward of the actual EVM launch, which is now on testnet so far, was quite a big point of focus for the team. And now that that's been very successfully and impressively executed by the dev team, we can expand our vision to more of the business considerations. So what does this mean? It means that I'm hoping that next week we'll have it's more of a newer company, but it's a cool partnership that will have one of their guys or maybe two of their founders join us in the AMA and tell us about why they are partnering with Cherry. The details of this have to be ironed out, so it may not, as with these things, until everything is signed, sealed, and delivered and done, we can't be, things can always happen, but I'm hoping that next week we'll have everything over the line so that after our brief AMA update, we'll have the two founders of this company that's using Cherry technology on, and they'll discuss with us what why they chose Cherry and and what they're up to. So that should be fun, and it should also be pretty productive. Furthermore, we have new validators are done. We have interviews with those validators done. It's two new validator teams. I'm hoping that they will be that everything will be just signed on the dotted line and everything's done and up and running, so that we can push out the interviews with these guys this week. Hopefully by Friday, maybe by next Monday if it's next week. It'll be early next week at the very latest. We already have everything done and just ready to hit send, so that should be interesting. It's the people that we're involved with. They're quite impressive teams, so they have some interesting things to tell us about where they see things, their relationship with Cherry going and stuff like that. So that would be fun. As I mentioned before, I think the week before last, we've been working on our press presence and PR. We will have an interview with a nice Web3 publication published. I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks. I'm not sure. These things really depend on the actual outlets themselves, but it's a nice interview, and we've other kinds of PR coming out soon as well. This will also be in tandem with something I mentioned, or something that I'll mention at the end of this update, which is our video content, which will come out soon as well. The tokenomics as well will be discussed at some point between now and the next AMA. We might put out a blog about that. That's quite interesting for you guys because it kind of explains a lot of the strategy behind the project, etc. And it's always important, especially for newer investors, to understand the tokenomics of every project that they're involved with, because often tokenomics are not on very solid footing, whereas we've put a lot of thought and consideration into our own tokenomic outlay, and it's something that's interesting and useful to share with you guys. Furthermore, and this is something that I kind of picked up on based on some things that people were asking me in the chat and stuff like that, is that we will have a cheat sheet of sorts, a wiki, maybe you might describe it as, just a kind of cliff notes rundown on what Cherry is doing, what it's achieved, what we hope to achieve soon, things in the works, and most importantly, what Cherry is and how it works. That will be something that's useful as well for you guys if you want to talk about Cherry with people. To share this link, it will be hosted on our Notion page, I think, so that things that are updated and ongoing, we can just instantly reflect them there, and it's very easy for us to just get more information out to you guys as it happens, for it to be shared with people who maybe aren't as initiated with the project itself. With regards to the bug bounty, I was hoping that this would be out and running by now, but this is very much at the discretion and wisdom of the devs. I don't want to I can't really speak to that either way. I know that they have that they've been working on the details of how that will run and how much the bounties will actually be, etc. I know that they're on top of it, so I'm confident that they'll have more details announced about that pretty soon. I'm pretty sure that Herman will touch on this a little bit in the text update he gives in the next few hours in the chat itself. With regards to the merch store, we were waiting for. I don't want to. The merch store is just there doing nothing. So we can announce that as soon as we want. But I want to first get some of the more important things out of the way. As one of our friends in the chat there mentioned today, I can't remember who it was, but they asked if there will be that they hope there's more forthcoming news, not just the merch store, and that's absolutely the truth. Because I don't think that it's a good idea to be talking about clothes when we've got more interesting things, more important progress to be worked on and to be announced. And we want to announce those things first. That being said, the merch store is cool, it's fun, so we're looking forward to sharing that with you guys very soon as well. The website will. So this is what I mentioned earlier about the videos. I'm hoping on Friday at 1 p.m. UTC. It's 1 p.m. UTC. 1 p.m. UTC, or maybe noon UTC. I'll decide by this evening. We're going to have one of our office hours again, which was fun the last time we did it. And what I'm going to do is kind of get you guys input on some of the decisions that we're making with regards to website, with regards to a cheat sheet that I mentioned, and most importantly, the videos. we're going to spend some budget on the videos, make them look good. I think you've probably seen some explainer videos from other projects like Solana. I saw one from Solana that was really good. We're going to have a look at really slick. We're going to have it pushed out on all of our channels. We're going to do multiple videos touching on different aspects of the Cherry Core project. And yeah, I have these things scripted. I mean, we could wait until they're actually announced for you guys to see. But I think that it would be better if you guys maybe helped me decide what elements to include in the videos, etc. You had some really worthwhile points when we were discussing previous design issues in our previous Cherry office hours. So I think it'll be good to do something similar this time around. So for about an hour on Friday, we'll do the Cherry office hour. You guys can see into the inner workings of how the project is progressing and how we work, and we'll hopefully get some work done. And yeah, it'll be a very useful thing for I think all of us to do. And yeah, the last point there was the thing about the video promo. I had a couple of questions from people. I just want to hold on a second, and I just have them written down here. 1 second, please. Bear with me there, guys. Sorry about this. Now, where are these questions? Okay, yeah. Someone asked here, what are we doing? They sent me this as a DM. They asked me, what are we doing to better convey the message of what Cherry does? Because sometimes it's not clear for newer investors. That's a very good point. My target is within the next couple of weeks to have enough material disseminated in the form of the things that I mentioned above within the next like 2.5 weeks, so that we have just a really a wealth of things that we can point to when people want to know about the project and stuff like that. An example of this being in action would be the Twitter Spaces that we take part in. I'm just going to pin the video to the top of my profile, and then I'll say, if you're interested in Cherry, check out my pinned tweet. The point of this is that we need to be able to, we the team need to be able to express the potential of Cherry, which you guys are aware of, in less than a minute, in a very accessible and intriguing and interesting format. So that's the goal of that. Someone else asked about events. They said what kind of events are going to be happening between now and, I think they said, what did they say? Between now and Christmas. I don't know about this in the second half of the year. I think we'll be going to Web Summit again. But over the summer, and the summer is better for events in general, what we're going to do is there's different types of events that we're going to be running. There is the hackathon. There is events that we attend like conferences. And then there's things that we host ourselves. The hackathon would obviously be something that we host as well ourselves. But non-hackathon events that we host ourselves will also be done. I think we're having two in Italy. We'll have one in the UK. I think we might have one further afield, possibly in Dubai, where we have offices. I think we'll have one in Spain because we have such a strong Spanish and Spanish-speaking community. And there might be one in Northern Europe, Amsterdam, or maybe in Germany. I'm not sure. They should be announced within the next, I would say, three weeks. So we'll let you guys know. If you have any recommendations for events that you've been to that you think are good, or that you think we should attend that are coming up in the future, then please let me know. Drop it in the chat or send me a DM. So I think that pretty much covers everything. I'm just going to double check again to make sure there's no other questions. So bear with me there for just 2 minutes. Should have these up. Sorry about this, guys. 1 second. Okay, 1 second. yeah, sorry. Alex said this. Yeah, sorry. Good thing I checked. Sorry about that, Alex. Alex, late last night or early this morning asked. I don't think we have a differentiation from other other projects. There's a ton of chains who already have EVM a long time ago, and every day there's more projects coming into space who offer the same or more. I made a question a month ago about decentralized storage for Cherry because at this point I believe it's the only thing that can bring Cherry more recognition. Requested terrible several times for answers. Got told we addressed MAs, but it didn't. And that's I think I just forgot to say it before, but we kind of have touched on these things in the past anyway. I just think that we didn't directly, specifically answer the question to address at you, but it's a good question, and I'm happy to answer. Okay, so the first thing I'd say is that the developments in the technical developments of the project are not differentiators, and EVM is a good example. Having EVM as a project means absolutely nothing on its own. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares because you have to actually have some reason for people to use your chain in the first place through EVM. You know, it's like having a door to a building that nobody wants to be in. Having a door, a nice door, an efficient door, a door to a cool place like the Ethereum ecosystem is very good. But if you don't actually have anything in your building, it's pointless. It's a waste of time. It's a superfluous door. So we're not talking about the in terms of key differentiators, the the door that is EVM, which provides a passageway between Cherry and Ethereum, is not the real attraction. The attraction is what Cherry does itself. And this is something that we'll discuss on Friday for anyone that wants to tune in with the Cherry officer. And this is where it gets into the conceptual landscape of what Cherry is. So Cherry provides a way for dApp developers or anybody using smart contracts or the Web3 construct. It allows them to plug into decentralized file storage in a much, much, much more efficient way. That's the whole game plan point of Cherry. There's a term, the term in computer science or in software development is CRUD, create, read, update, and delete. They're the basic file operations that you can execute. Cherry provides CRUD operations on decentralized file storage that is associated with a smart contract. That's the important thing that it does. This would be like, it might sound pretty obscure, but then, Amazon Web Services might sound pretty niche and obscure as well. But the point is that it's a vital part of a wider thing, So we are addressing that in two ways. The first is that the Cherry chain essentially provides a very dynamic indexing link between any smart contract and any decentralized file storage. The second thing is that we also provide decentralized file storage itself, but we're doing it in a different way. Now, this is where it gets kind of technical and pretty involved, and I'm not the best person to explain this, but Cherry does things differently to Filecoin and the rest of them, Storage or Storage, however you pronounce it, in that we want to make file storage more, even easier for people to use from a smart contract. And that's what Cherry does. Furthermore, as I mentioned last week, we are attempting to simplify our market positioning to emphasize the decentralized storage as much as possible. Not just the bridge between any decentralized file storage and smart contracts, but the emphasis on our own proprietary decentralized file storage module, which will be released within the next couple of months that's the next big thing on the dev horizon. That's what, as you said, just to quote you yourself, decentralized file storage for Cherry, because at this point I believe it's the best thing that can bring Cherry more recognition. That's absolutely true, and we agree. So that's why the focus of some of our positioning, not all of it, but some of our positioning and developer efforts is going towards that at the moment. So I think that kind of explains it well. I think that's pretty much all of the questions that we're pressing. Um, I'm going to leave it there. As I said earlier, Herman will give an update later. And when he does, I'll also combine that with the recap of what I've just said here, and then we'll pin that. So you'll see it. You'll see it pinned in the chat when you pop back in later today or tomorrow. Aside from that, yeah, so we've got a lot of things on. We're very, very busy. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys on Friday. Aside from that, we we have a lot of things that will be released over next week. It's pretty much something every day. Aside from that, we have the quiz coming up in a couple of minutes. The winners of the last quiz, possibly the one before, still haven't been given their prizes. I'll get around to that in the next couple of days. Thanks, guys, for your patience. People before that, I think, unless I've missed someone, then they should have all gotten their prizes by now. So what I'll do is I'll hand you over to John. John will give administer the quiz, and then I will talk to you guys in the chat later on when I give a recap of this chat and also combine that with the notes that Herman will give us. So I'll leave it there. John will take over with the quiz, and I'll speak to you guys later. Thanks very much for joining. Very busy, bit hectic at times, but very productive time for the team. And we're glad, as always, for your continued support, which is so important to us. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.